My husband Zeke is in love again and is keeping a young girl. Now I am sensible. I don't cry or make a fuss. Instead, I considerately urge him to go on a date. He is quite satisfied and shows off to his brothers. See, when choosing a wife, you should choose one as obedient as this. But his brothers have different expressions. Because I have been disobedient, with all of them. Especially the high and aloof one sitting in the corner. Last night when I was so tired that I couldn't move a single finger. He was still asking me. When will you make me official? Well, say something. Zeke is in love again. This time it's a young girl. Zeke likes her very much. The young girl is also very clingy. On my birthday, Shark rarely comes home to celebrate with me. Before I can blow out the candles, my phone starts ringing. He takes the call on the balcony, avoiding me. But I still hear it. Did you go home to be with that old hag? If you sleep in the same bed with her tonight, we'll break up. I mean it. The delicate voice is full of arrogance. Zapchu's not annoyed. He patiently coaxes her. You little jealous scat. I'll cut the cake and then go be with you. Be good. I bought the pink diamond you like. I'll give it to you later. The other person seems to have calmed down and adds cutely. Then you can't kiss her. Church seems to be amused. Okay. I won't even touch her. Is that all right? I am amused and angry. Are mistresses so brazen these days? After Zeke finishes the call, I kindly hand him the pink diamond on the table. You took the wrong one. This should be for her. He is stunned for a moment and takes out another box from his pocket. A necklace of emeralds. Your birthday gift. He can even take the wrong gift. Has he become so inattentive to me? Thank you. I take it casually. There's no need to be angry. He is quite good at giving gifts. This green of emeralds suits me well. Perhaps I am too obedient. A strange emotion flashes in his eyes. Mia. He approaches and lowers his head to kiss me. I immediately block him with my hand. Don't. Your girlfriend doesn't allow kissing. His eyes darken and a trace of anger flashes across his face. He simply sits on the sofa in a bold manner. Mia. Are you in a bad mood? His question is really funny. But I don't have time to deal with him. I grab my phone and send a message to his little girl. Your man wants to be affectionate with me. He may not go on a date with you tonight. Not long after. Jart's phone rings indeed. Then, he hurries out to coax her. I let out a sigh. People always change. Before, I was afraid that he wouldn't come home. Now I'm afraid that he stays at home. It gets in the way of my dates. Of course. Zuck and I got married because of love. But he is destined to be a wild horse who only wants a prairie. Over the years, his little lovers have been of all shapes and sizes. Too many to count. At first, I was unwilling and cried. Made a fuss. Smashed things and hit people. I even humbly begged him several times to break off with the people outside and return to the family. But Zeke just looked at me coldly. Mia. Stop making a fuss. In our circle. Who doesn't have a few women on the side? Isn't it enough that you are Mrs. Cha? I laughed. Then if my husband is you, can I find a group of male models on the side? Jerks his teeth and calls me crazy. Mia. If you have the guts. Try it. Try it then. Of course. I didn't find male models. I've come to my senses and no longer interfere with Zeke's love affairs. I am indifferent to his messy affairs. I don't cry or make a fuss in him like a mute. He is quite satisfied. When drunk, he shows off to his brothers. See, when choosing a wife, you should choose one as obedient as this. That day, his several brothers had different expressions. Because I have been disobedient, with all of them. Every time Zeke has a love affair, I secretly flirt with one of his brothers behind his back. Since he can cheat on me again, and again, don't blame me for weaving a green hat for him. Especially the high and aloof one sitting in the corner. Silas, the eldest grandson of the direct line of the Silas family. The night before, When I was so tired that I couldn't move a single finger. He was still asking me, "When will you make me official?" Well, say something. Yes. Recently Silas is very clingy. His jealousy is no less than that of Zeke's little girl. I click on the voice message. The other person's voice is as intoxicating as wine. "Mia. Come out." I don't respond. 3 seconds later. He sends another photo. Neatly stacked. Lean abdominal muscles. The undried water droplets flowed into my eyes along the two-deep on his belt. Sending me this kind of photo. Isn't it obvious that he wants me to go out and deal with him? I can't be provoked. Once provoked by him, it's easy to get addicted. Still in the same old place. A suite in a star-rated hotel. I stood outside the door and waited for a while. There was no movement. Oh, someone is angry. If you don't open the door, I'll leave. I'm not used to spoiling him. The door suddenly opened, and a well-proportioned hand instantly pulled me in. Silas was full of grievance, wrapped up tightly all over, and sat on the sofa with a cold face. "What do you mean by not replying to my message?" The beautiful side profile made me couldn't help softening my tone. "He's at home. It's not convenient." His eyelashes trembled lightly like crow feathers. "Mia. Divorce him." "No way." He was stunned for a moment, and the end of his eyes quickly reddened. "Do you still love him? Then what am I? Don't you know what you are?" But I dare not say it. Silas is clearly the jade-faced Hades in the business field. Resolute and decisive on the negotiation table. But every time with me, he looks aggrieved as if being bullied by me. But I just love this contrast of his. If I love him, can I still come to you? Wait a little longer. I'm long past the age of putting love above everything. I have a selfish intention. At the end of the year, Jack's company's 5-year planned North District project is about to be implemented. By then, his assets may multiply several times. If I want to divorce, I have to wait until I get a large sum of money before leaving. This is what I deserve. After all, in the toughest days of his entrepreneurship, it was I who accompanied him to live in the basement and eat instant noodles. I used the same tricks Zeke uses to coax little girls to coax Silas. "I won't leave tonight. I'll stay with you. Be good." Silas curved his lips and smiled. His eyes were bright and almost blinded me. "Well, I'm handsome and capable. There's no reason you don't choose me. Men are childish until death." After saying that, he gently grabbed my hand and led me to and Aya's bathrobe. "Come. Unwrap your gift for you." Yes, he is good at this. In the face of such beauty, my resistance collapsed completely. I seemed to understand a little of Zeke's happiness. Wildflowers are indeed more fragrant. But I understand that this is happiness under moral decay. It can't be seen by the light, and is not recognized by the secular world. "Mia. When will you make me official?" "Well? Speak. Mia. I really like you. What about you?" Facing his sincere eyes, I couldn't answer. I touched his face. A rare flash of conscience. But not much. I already want to end it. But he still thinks about having a future with me. Then wait a little longer. Wait until he gets tired of our relationship and takes the initiative to withdraw. Just like Zeke. He was once passionately in love. And there will still be a day when it calms down and he gets tired. And for these second-generation rich people like them, who knows which words are true and which are false? It's unlucky to trust men's words too easily. The next day, when I dragged my sore body and went home. "Where have you been?" Jarup was unexpectedly sitting on the sofa in the living room early in the morning. I was stunned for a moment and casually said, "Can't I go downstairs to have breakfast?" Jarup glanced at me and suddenly stood in front of me. His gaze was deep and his voice was slightly cold. "Where did the red mark on your neck come from?" Thinking of Silas. My heart trembled. "Get angry. Have gu asha." Pinched by hand. Sok stared at my neck fiercely. Obviously he didn't believe it. Because this hickey is too obvious. He gritted his back teeth. Mia, do you have someone outside? Who is he? I slammed the door of my room shut, nearly hitting his nose. Fortunately, we have been sleeping in separate rooms during this time. Jack's fierce voice came through the crack of the door. Mia, if I find out you have someone outside, I'll kill him. It's Silas. Go and kill him. I know he doesn't dare. After all, Silas has a prominent family background and Zeke can't handle him. At most, there will be a quarrel. By the way, it would be good to end my tangled relationship with Silas. Unexpectedly, Jack was stunned for 2 seconds and sneered. Mia, you should prepare your lies better. What kind of person is Silas? Would he like you? At this moment, somehow, my heart was like a plum soaked in cold water. Cold and sour. That was the contempt from the bottom of Zeke's heart. Just because he doesn't cherish me. So he can betray our marriage again and again without any psychological burden? In fact, except for Silas, I haven't gone to the last step with his group of second-generation rich brothers. I tried, but it just doesn't work. It's my fault. The most serious time. I made the other person speechless. He looked at the stains all over his body helplessly. I'm so handsome. You actually vomited? I apologized to him. Sorry. I didn't vomit because of your handsomeness. It's my problem. I have emotional cleanliness. I am still different from Zeke. I really can't be as promiscuous as him. Except for Silas. That was an accident. Jake. Let's get a divorce. I don't want to endure it anymore. Let's free each other early. Jock was stunned for a few seconds. Mia, you should know that I hate it most when you lose your temper. If I really agree to divorce, don't regret it. Zoc is convinced that I'm just threatening him with divorce. However, he didn't expect. The shore field comes so quickly. My unlucky best friend is the business manager of a newly opened star hotel. She gave me a coupon and let me experience it for free. Silas raised his eyebrows. I haven't experienced it yet. Take me with you. Unexpectedly, Zoc and his little girl also came. He retracted by reputation. Just after they swiped their cards and entered the room, I opened the door. Separated by a wall. It's really exciting to think about. So exciting that Silas pressed me and kissed me as soon as he entered. Wait. The people next door will hear. He teased my earlobe. His voice lazy. Don't worry. The sound insulation materials used in this place are not bad. How does he know so clearly? I narrowed my eyes. Who have you been here with? Silas's phoenix eyes brightened for a moment. Mia, are you jealous? I'm very glad that you are jealous for me. But don't worry. I have given all my reserves to you. There has never been anyone else. After saying that, he buried his head in my neck and nibbled again. Silas is somewhat of a love-struck person. When I flirted with him at the beginning, he was really aloof. Sometimes I can't help suspecting that he was pretending before. A ringtone rang abruptly at this time. Telephone. Silas reluctantly let me go and gave me a slightly resentful look with his blurred phoenix eyes. I took a look at my phone and my heart skipped a beat. It was Zeke. The voice on the phone was deep and cold. Open the door. 10 seconds later, Chuck's voice rang out again. Mia, I have many ways to make you open the door. It seems that the sound I accidentally made just now was heard by Zeke next door. I know this person very well. He is stubborn. And if it makes a scene, it's really not easy to explain externally. After all, he is with his girlfriend and I am with my boyfriend. And we are next door. Anyway, it's not like that. I had to wrong Silas for the time being. Can you hide in the bathroom first? Silas wrapped around me and didn't move. Am I so unworthy to be seen? I pressed my fingertip to my temple. The person outside the door is my husband. Your current identity is a mistress. Understand? He was not convinced. He is also with a mistress. Why is his mistress so confident while I am so humble? No. It's already a critical moment. And he is still comparing with others? But indeed. Jerk little girl is quite confident. I was a bit guilty. I made him feel wronged. So, I had to bend down and bite hard on his lips. But this way it will be more exciting. If one bite is not enough, then 2 bites. Be good. He is just one link among us. Silas's eyes brightened for a moment, and his watery and bright lips slowly rose. This is more like it. The young master finally obeyed and slowly walked into the bathroom. I opened the door. Zach stood outside the door with a dark face. Where's the person? That man. Zeke pursed his lips, looked around, and pushed the bathroom door. But it didn't move. Okay. Can you hide forever? This is a hotel under the company of my brother. With one phone call, the monitoring will be clear. Mia. Wait. I'll see who it is. Check it. I've seen this room. It happens to be a blind spot for monitoring. But sometimes plans often can't keep up with accidents. Zeke called his brother. But Silas's cell phone in the bathroom rang. Jack gave me a suspicious look. Hung up. And the ringtone inside stopped abruptly. He dialed again. A pleasant ringtone rang again in the bathroom. At this moment, Jack's face was as ugly as if the company's stock had crashed. Is it Silas? Yeah. I really didn't know that this hotel is an industry under Silas's company. The bathroom door opened. Silas walked out calmly and sat on the sofa. His legs were crossed. As natural as if he were in a coffee shop instead of being caught. Say, which section of monitoring do you want to see? Zach's apple rolled several times. His gaze shifted between me and Silas. In the end, he couldn't hold back and punched Silas. Silas dodged. He stared sharply at Zeke, as if seeing through him. Do you deserve to hit me? Chuck clenched and unclenched his fist. The veins on his neck bulged. He grabbed me and said, "Let's go home and talk." For the first time, I saw Silas exuding a gloomy aura. He suddenly stood up. If you have something against me, come at me. Don't touch Mia. Chuck seemed to be angered. President Silas. Mia is my wife. This is our family matter. Silas snorted coldly. Even if there is a marriage certificate, it's not a reason for you to hurt her. I soothed Silas with my eyes. Don't worry. I'll be fine. I also have something to talk to him about. Silas had to restrain his emotions. Then be careful. Don't do things you shouldn't do. Zeke's face darkened even more. You meddle so much. As a third party, don't you have any sense of propriety? Silas' voice was cool. Since I'm already a third party, where would I have a sense of propriety? On the way back, chapped on the gas pedal so hard that the car was speeding rapidly. Zeke, you're driving too fast. I'm scared. Yes. There is another person in the car. Sitting in the passenger seat. She is the little girl Lucy who Zeke has recently been doting on. Just now, Lucy was wearing a skimpy strapless dress and looking at Zeke with red eyes. Zeke frowned, thought, for a moment, and brought her along. I'll send you home first. Zeke is acting as if he's seriously ill. He exchanges affectionate glances with Lucy all the way, almost creating sparks. He also frequently peeks at my expression from the rearview mirror. Will I be sad? No. Will I be angry? It seems not. It turns out that when there is no love, there will be no emotions. Soon, the car stopped downstairs at Lucy's house. I'll take you upstairs. Job said this while looking into my eyes, as if wanting to see me get angry or jealous. I don't care. It's okay. You can even send her to bed. I'm not in a hurry. Take your time. With a loud bang. The only response to me was the heavy sound of the car door closing. I'm so generous. What's there for him to be angry about? After walking 100 meters, Lucy came running back in her high heels. Forgetting her lipstick is false. Wanting to taunt me is true. Why don't you get a divorce? Are you afraid that no one will want you when you're old? You are already a certain age. You really should worry. But Zeke just likes me. It's no use for you to act up. I looked at her bright and slightly stupid face and smiled. Was it also her who called me an old hag on the phone last time? Always bringing up age. Why? Are you afraid you won't live to a certain age? Since he likes you so much, why does he still let you be a mistress? He's really not sensible. By the way, I have a marriage certificate. Do you have one? If I get a divorce, I can still get a share of the property. If you are dumped, you won't get a penny. Don't be so health conscious at a young age and always be full of green tea. Her face turned pale with anger. You. I quickly rolled up the car window glass. Nearly pinched her nose. A good car is good in this aspect. Sound insulation. I sat in the car blowing cold air and watched her facing the car glass. Her mouth opening and closing. At about the right time. I lowered the glass and picked my ear. What did you say? Say it again. You. I continued to roll up the glass. Rather than wronging myself, it's better to drive others crazy first. 2 hours later, Chuck sat on the sofa in the living room with a cold face. He had a cigarette in his hand. Mia. When did you start with him? I thought seriously for a moment. Then I said calmly. That time when I went to the company to bring you a loving meal. Lucy was sitting on your lap. Then you told her that you had been playing with me for 7 years and were tired of it. Zeke's hand holding the cigarette trembled. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. He will never know that on that day when I walked out of the company with the lunchbox in hand. I cried until I had a stomach cramp. I used to like Zeke. I liked him very much. But after marriage, he used a dull knife to slowly cut open my heart. And blood flowed everywhere. I can only save myself. Use whichever way can make me happy. Put aside personal qualities and enjoy an immoral life. If you can't beat them, join them. From that day on, I started looking for his friends. Trying one by one. Throwing up one after another until I met Silas. He is so good looking. It is not only beautiful but also useful. It has cured my emotional cleanliness. Chuck's voice floated from the smoke. Mia. Break it off with him. I'll break it off with Lucy too. Let's start over. The inferiority of men. My extramarital affair partner is Silas. A man of extraordinary status. Chuck began to reassess my value again. When I was obediently at home, he found it boring and could hurt me at will. I chuckled softly. Cheek. I've been sleeping with you for 7 years. I'm tired of it. I returned these words to him. Chot was stunned for a moment, biting his back teeth, and the corners of his eyes turned red. His voice was as cold as if it carried ice chips. Mia, if we really get divorced, do you think Silas will marry you? With his family background and wealth, he will marry someone from a similar background. And he still doesn't know that you were once a slut? With your stepfather. At this moment, it seemed as if I had tinnitus and could no longer hear any other sounds. I only knew clearly. The last bit of affection I had left for Zeke disappeared completely. He quickly came to his senses, and a trace of regret reflected in his eyes. Sorry, Mia. I said the wrong thing. Only now did I understand why he kept cheating. On the one hand, it may be because of his dissolute nature. On the other hand, it is his unknown disdain for me buried deep in his heart. Because you think I'm a slut. So you make up for it by cheating? Mia. His Adam's apple rolled as he reached out to hug me. Chuck. You disgust me. With a slap. This was the first time I slapped him. Using all my strength. It numbed my palm. A red palm print immediately appeared on Zeke's fair and handsome face. He was stunned for a moment. His eyes quickly became tinged with anger. I just touched you. And you're disgusted? Isn't anyone who touches you disgusting? Silas? Mia. Wake up. Silas is just playing with you. Are you so cheap that you rush to be played with by him? When facing a scumbag, there is no need to prove oneself. Chuck. You're right. I'd rather rush to be played with by him than be touched by you. After saying that, I quickly walked into the room, closed the door, and locked it. Mia, come out. Zeke blocked outside the door, grinding his teeth. After kicking the door a few times fiercely, he gradually calmed down and left. Slamming the door, I leaned against the wall weakly. In fact, I had subconsciously forgotten that incident for a long time. Today, Zek's words were like an invisible and fierce hand. Unexpectedly, it pulled me back into the dark time tunnel again. Mom. The uncle looked at me strangely. Mom put down what was in her hand. Her eyes were full of disgust. Who's to blame? Why did you wear tight jeans and a skirt? If you dressed uglier, who would look at you? Are you so cheap that you rush to be looked at? I clenched my palm tightly, and there was a taste of rest in my mouth. In her world, there was only her stepfather and her newborn son. There was never me. That afternoon, when Mom was not at home, and the plot that only appeared in TV dramas befell me, when I was struggling and begging for mercy on the living room floor. In despair, it was Zeke who saved me. He had seen the most embarrassing moment in my life. My hair was messy, and the buttons on my shirt were scattered everywhere. The warm and clean hand of the young man held me tightly. Mia, don't be afraid. As long as I'm here, no one can hurt you. Undeniably, he was once a ray of light in my life. It was also from that day that I chose to leave my mom completely again. No matter how much Mom cried and begged me. I looked at her coldly. Why are you doing this? You beg me to go back, just because you want a punching bag to vent your dissatisfaction with life on me. But Mom, it's also true that you don't love me. I'm just so stubborn. I don't go back. But I underestimated my mom's resentment towards me. So much so that she would destroy me at all costs. In the corridor, she met Zeke. She sneered at Zeke. I know my daughter's character best as her mother. She's pretending with you. What happened between her and the man at my home is not the first time. Mom's words undoubtedly planted a seed in Zeke's heart. Over the years, it broke through the soil and became a sharp thorn. Until the first time Zeke and I were together. The bed sheet was clean, and there was nothing on it. That thorn completely pierced into his heart. I shyly explained in a low voice. I fell when I was learning to ride a bicycle before. So it was broken. Zeke just uttered an It was only many years later that I found out. Originally, he had never believed me. Not even once. Any relationship comes to an end when there is no trust. Let's get a divorce. I'm serious. The screen lights up. Well, then when should we get married first? Oh. I sent it to the wrong person. I sent the message meant for Zeke to Silas by mistake. It was sent by mistake. It's not for you. As intelligent as he is, he certainly understands what it means. Could it be that because of me, I'm disturbing your family life? This text is at least a bit tea-like. Don't be angry. We can discuss things. Have a good talk with him. Have you agreed? On what day will you get a divorce? Going tomorrow Friday would be quite suitable. After the weekend. We still have to wait 2 days until Monday. I'm not in a hurry. Just a little bit in a hurry. I couldn't help laughing. He is actually the one in a hurry first. Mia. I want to see you. His voice is low and mellow, tempting me again. But I don't want to. I'm really tired today. Then shall I chat with Mia? After 2 hours of pure chatting, I'm bored. What's the fun in just chatting? Take off your clothes, and let me have a look. He was amused by me. Okay. You wait. Then the screen went black. After 10 minutes, he turned it on again. With his hands crossed under the hem of his clothes, he slowly lifted it up. The moment his abdominal muscles were exposed, I instantly became full of energy. Take off your pants and let me have a look. No. Unless you see it in person. I laughed. He's still pretending to be reserved. If you can appear in a few minutes, I'll go see you. Are you teasing me? I can do it too. He lives in the south of the city. And I'm in the east. Even if he drives at top speed. It will take him an hour. But 3 minutes later, I received a call from Silas. Come downstairs. Mia. My heart seemed to be suddenly struck. I opened the curtain. And there was a Maybach parked below. It's the car that Silas often drives. Silas. Have you been sitting downstairs my house for most of the night? Not really. When I took off my clothes, I went to a nearby hotel and opened a room. No wonder the screen was black for 10 minutes. I want to be able to appear immediately when Mia wants to see me. A warm current rose in my heart. I didn't even have time to change my shoes. Wearing pajamas and slippers, I rushed downstairs. On a cool night, I rushed into a warm embrace. He tightened his hold on my waist. Mia. Divorce him, and be with me. His beautiful phoenix eyes looked at me quietly. At this moment, I believe that the sincerity in his eyes won't deceive me. But as for whether his mouth deceives people, I don't know. Silas. Do you think your family can accept someone like me? Under the shimmering moonlight, our gazes on each other are very clear. There is a barely noticeable evasion in Silas's eyes. I saw it. I'm not a teenage girl anymore. I understand what it means. Silas's eyelashes trembled slightly. Mia. Give me time. I'll handle it well. I smiled at him. Then when you've handled it, come find me again. Anyway, I haven't suffered a loss in this relationship. I didn't spend a penny and enjoyed his company for a while. As for men, just find another one. The next one will be better. I tightened my clothes and turned to go upstairs. Silas stood downstairs my house all night. Chuck didn't come back until noon the next day. Surprisingly, he was even carrying a bag of vegetables in his hand. It doesn't match his expensive custom-made suit at all. He acted as if nothing had happened and smiled at me. Mia, can I make your favorite prawns and tomato sauce? Chic. Let's get a divorce. Mia, do you want it sweeter or sourer? Chuck, I don't want prawns. I want a divorce. Mia, I can make prawns. I also won't get a divorce. Well, let him be wishful. Only then did I notice his face. Exhausted. Ashen as if he had stayed up all night. Don't stare at me. I didn't sleep all night because of you being annoying. Oh. Also staying up all night. It turns out that people are different. Why did Silas also stay up all night? I'm so sleepy. But he is full of energy as if he had absorbed yin to nourish yang. While slowly buttoning his shirt by the bed, he kissed me awake. Stop. What am I thinking? I walked away holding my head. Chop was stunned for a moment, and then turned and entered the kitchen to make lunch. I took a bath and put on a beautiful makeup. There were 4 dishes and 1 soup already placed on the dining table. Zach hadn't cooked for a long time and was a bit rusty. But the dishes still looked passable. Shrimp in tomato sauce. Garlic spare ribs. Blanched okra. Mia. These are all your favorites. Have some. No. I have something to do, and need to go out. Shark's eyes instantly darkened. I cooked for a long time. He also raised his finger. Look. I got burned. Now, even if he was burned to death, it has nothing to do with me. Cheek, when you were out carousing and in love affairs before, have you counted how many meals I waited for you? Mia. What responded to him was a loud slam of the door. Shocky came enthusiastic towards me again on his own initiative. As if we were back in our passionate love days. He sent me flowers, picked me up from the painting institution after work, and prepared meals waiting for me. He gave me all kinds of expensive jewels. When I returned home at night, Chuck was actually dead drunk. He was supported home by his several brothers, muttering Mia, with his mouth full. Sister-in-law. You finally came back. Brother's Act has been clamoring to find you. No one can come. After everyone left, I kicked him with my foot. Don't pretend. If you were really drunk, you wouldn't be like this. Zach rubbed his brow. Mia. Only you understand me. Mia. I was wrong before. Can we start over? I will be very good to you. If it were a soft-hearted girl, she might have agreed. And then live a few sweet days. And then repeat the cycle and enter the previous life again. Remember, for men who cheat, there is only once and countless times. Cheek. We should have ended a long time ago. It's just my obsession that has kept me going until now. He stared at me blankly. Mia. Do you really like Silas? He clenched his back teeth and his face was unreadable. Mia. I will prove to you that Silas is not suitable for you. 3 days later, I was called to a top-level private room to eavesdrop. The door was left ajar. It can be seen that it was deliberately left for me. Vaguely visible inside are all prominent figures in the business circle of Nanchang. Seated on the top is a person often seen in the financial news of the city. The grandfather of Silas. The helmsman of the Silas family. Today is a family banquet and there are no media present. The topics discussed by these rich people are sharper and more realistic than ordinary people can imagine. Silas. I heard that you are involved with a married woman and it's not clear-cut? All eyes at the scene focused on Silas. Especially Zeke. With a barely noticeable trace of ridicule hidden at the corner of his mouth. I'm not that stupid. It's not hard to guess that it was Zeke who made a plan and had someone ask on purpose. I heard that Grandpa is autocratic and extremely strict with his grandchildren. They can play around outside as they please. But once it involves matters related to the family's interests, the grandchildren can't make decisions on their own. After all, there is more than one person in the Silas family who can inherit the family business. Silas. What's going on? Silas, who was still carefree just now, couldn't help but raise his head. He chuckled. It's just for fun. I had expected it in my heart long ago. But hearing it with my own ears, my heart still couldn't help but tighten involuntarily. Silas has extremely good-looking features, even when saying very unpleasant words. His face is still lazy and relaxed. When I get tired of playing, I will naturally throw her away. A woman with no family background and who is divorced. How can she be worthy of entering the door of our Silas family? Grandpa took a sip of tea gently, with a pleasant expression on his eyebrows. Chuck's mouth also curled up slightly. I guess he very much wants to see my disappointed and sad expression at this moment, to prove how correct his advice to me is. Silas scoffed lightly again, as if speaking to Zeke. But this kind of woman also has advantages. Very sincere and easy to coax. Marry her and put her at home. There's no need to treat her sincerely. Men can still have affairs outside. Isn't this alluding to me in the past? Generals Eek. Do you think I'm right? Chirrup B on the verge of speaking. But then stop. His face looked ugly. Then there was the sound of a chair being pulled. Silas stood up and unbuttoned the collar button on his shirt with one hand. Those words just now were what Grandpa and you wanted to hear. Right? Saying such ugly words. I even want to slap myself twice. A man who doesn't respect women will have bad luck all his life. So, when eavesdropping, you must listen until the end. Nowadays, everything has a reversal. Silas chuckled. For example, my dad let my mom down. That's why he died early. By the way, and Generals Eek, you deserve to lose your best wife. Grandpa slapped the table. For a woman, you give up your career? If you want to be with that woman, you don't need to come back to the Silas family. Silas put one hand in his pocket and picked up his suit jacket with the other hand and walked out. If you lose your career, you can start over. But if you lose your wife, she's gone forever. Bye. This meal doesn't suit my taste. You all enjoy it slowly. I'm suitable for being a gigolo. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Silas is about to come out. I hurriedly walked towards the stairwell. At the corner, I was tightly grabbed by a hand. Mia, want to leave after eavesdropping? Silas buried his hat in my neck. Mia, I have nothing now. Can you support me? Oh. So he wants to be my gigolo. Mia, won't you support me? I eat little and am capable. He deliberately emphasized the last word. The tips of my ears couldn't help but get hot. Do you want to inspect the goods? It's not necessary. You have tried it many times before. It's just white. Mia, now you have to pay. This person's mouth is really. Hey, are you really so love-struck that you want to give up the inheritance right of the Silas family? He raised his eyebrows slightly. Didn't you hear it just now? I said give me time and I will handle it well. You just don't believe me. His eyes and brows were extremely aggrieved. But his hands and feet were tightly wrapped around me. The corners of my mouth rose slightly. Okay. Let's rent a house first. Silas' eyes sparkled and his smile was brilliant. You ignored me these days. I was extremely uncomfortable. Where are you uncomfortable? He grabbed my hand and put it in. All over. I was being talkative. I shouldn't have asked. Mia, you have to compensate me. Another sleepless night. Sometimes being too capable is not necessarily a good thing. When I handed the divorce agreement to Zeke, he pressed his temples. Are you sure you want to do this? Even if he has nothing? Zap was referring to Silas behind me. He came to supervise whether I divorced properly. Since Silas broke away from the Silas family, he has become more relaxed and shameless. He crossed his legs and sat on the sofa in someone else's office familiarly. He also asked Eek's assistant to make a cup of hand-ground coffee. I'm not completely without anything. At least I still have Mia. His eyes were shining brightly. Full of pride. Jerk's face turned livid and he stood up. He was extremely angry inside. He had intended to use a meal to let me see clearly Silas' true nature. Unexpectedly, Silas took the opposite approach. Instead, it enhanced our relationship. He was extremely angry. You are proud of being supported by a woman? Do you have any shame? Silas took a sip of coffee. What's the use of having shame? As long as I have a wife. You don't understand. Being a gigolo is also quite happy. I've never seen someone be so confident about being a gigolo. Today I've seen it. Char gave me a sullen look. Mia, since you are so determined, this divorce must happen. Okay. If you have difficulties in the future, come back to me at any time. I will always wait for you. I always feel vaguely that something is not right. Silas was unhappy. He put his arm around me and walked out. What are you looking for? At first glance, he doesn't have good intentions. A qualified ex-husband should be as quiet as if he were dead. Zeke smashed a cup in the office. Chet finally agreed. On the day when I got the divorce certificate, I let out a sigh of relief and went home holding a bouquet of my favorite lilies. As soon as I arrived at the door, a figure flashed. Mia, you're back. Mom has been waiting for you for a long time. Looking at this middle-aged woman who is both strange and familiar, my scalp tingled slightly. Your uncle has been put in prison. Others have falsely accused him of molesting a young girl. That little girl doesn't seem proper either. Your younger brother borrowed money from loan sharks and was detained. They said that if he doesn't repay the money, they will cut off his finger. Your younger brother is young and ignorant. He was deceived by others. I tried hard to suppress the anger in my chest. Eventually, I couldn't endure it anymore. Mom, can you stop being like this? Everything is someone else's fault. Are your husband and son always right? Mom widened her eyes. Stupid girl. How can you talk like that? That's your stepfather and your own younger brother. Tell me, do you want to save them? Who told you where I live? Chick. You don't want such a good husband but you still keep a toy boy. I press my fingertip against my brow. Stop. You don't need to worry about my affairs. Also, I clearly tell you that I can't save them. They made mistakes and should be punished as they deserve. Mom got angry and the muscles on her face became distorted. She angrily stretched out her hand. Then give me some money. I laughed. Mom, the money I gave you in previous years is enough for your retirement. Now there is no more. I am not your inexhaustible artificial bank. You ungrateful dead girl. Fine. Just you wait. Mom left. Grumbling. Silas came back later. He picked me up and placed me on the rocking chair on the balcony. He also made a cup of rose tea for me. Recently, he has become more and more proficient in taking care of me. Did you hear? He nodded in acknowledgement. Mia, if your original family brings you endless negative energy, then boldly cut off from your original family. Remember, this is not shameful. Silas understands me. These are also what I think in my heart. Silas, then I may have no relatives in the future. He kissed my forehead. Don't be afraid. You still have me. I underestimated my mom's madness. When Silas sent me to work at the painting institution on Monday, there was a woman standing on the roof about to jump off. She kept shouting through a loudspeaker. A group of people had already gathered on the first floor. Everyone looked at me with different expressions. My daughter is Mia, the person in charge of this institution. Mia has bad conduct and moral decay. She cheated before getting divorced. Can you trust her to teach your children? She has been seducing her stepfather since she was young. The sun was shining directly, making me feel dizzy. I almost lost my balance. My back was covered in cold sweat. The person standing on the roof was my own mother. But she wanted to ruin me again and again. Silas pulled me into his arms and covered my ears. Mia, don't listen. It's not your fault. He took out his mobile phone with one hand and his expression was solemn and cold. Yes. Call the police. Send to people as quickly as possible. Pull her down. Even if you seal her mouth with adhesive tape. Under Silas's coordination, a farce finally subsided. Mia, she is your mother. What do you want to do with her? I dug my nails into my flesh. The taste of rust from that year reappeared in my mouth. My mom is emotionally unstable and has abnormal mental state. She is suitable for long-term hospitalization and in-depth treatment. When I went to see her for the last time, there was a flash of panic in Mom's eyes. I am your mother. I don't want to stay here. But Mom, you have never regarded me as your own daughter, right? Love is interactive. Mom, you don't love me. Then I won't love you anymore. Don't worry. I will provide your treatment expenses stably for a long time. Mom collapsed to the ground. I rushed into Zeke's office. I wanted to slap him hard twice. Can he dare say that all this wasn't caused by him? Using the thing I feared the most to attack and insult me. When I am really down in the dust. Let me rely on him again. Shameless. But I didn't expect someone to act first. Silas put on his watch calmly and buttoned up his cuff. He gently wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with his thumb. The whole person seemed to have a damaged beauty. So charming. He still seduces people even after fighting. Mia, you are here? Joke? He's fine. Just a little lesson. Zop on the ground was in a very sorry state. It was more than just a little lesson. His clothes were torn. The corner of his mouth was also torn. His face was bruised and purple. There was not a single piece of good flesh. However, it was quite satisfying to see. Silas snorted. Useless men will only attack a woman with chastity. I have always belonged to Mia alone. Are you? Just a rotten cucumber. Where does so much superiority come from? Cheating again and again. And still trying to use Mia's family to ruin her career. Don't you understand? Men who ruin women's careers will be struck by lightning. Zup's eyes were fragmented. Mia. Mia. I'm in pain. He covered his chest in pain. Once upon a time, as soon as he said he was in pain, I would care about him, coax him, and rub him. But that was only in the past. Mia. Take a look. I'm really sick. Trembling lie. He took out a cancer diagnosis sheet. I met his expectant gaze. Word by word. Clearly audible. Chuck. You deserve it. Church immediately turned ashen-faced. His eyes dimmed. Without a trace of light. Mia. I'm dizzy. Quickly. Take me to the emergency department. Silas looked as if he was about to faint and scared me. Some examinations were done. The doctor hesitated to speak and finally only said one sentence. It may be phantom pain. Let him go home and recuperate. I understand. Silas is still addicted to acting. Every day. It's either this pain or that pain. Either coaxing me to peel grapes for him, or coaxing me to wipe his back for him. While wiping, things often get out of hand. Silas, you need to be restrained. I have no money now. This is all I'm good for. I'm afraid that if I don't perform well, you won't want me anymore, he said pitifully. There was a touch of red at the corner of his eyes. In the following days, it was even more excessive. He didn't even cook anymore. He had no sense of being at fault. He sighed all day long in front of me. Mia, I really can't cook this meal at all. What's wrong with you? He was aggrieved instead. I go in and out of your house every day without a name or status. When I go to buy groceries, everyone in the vegetable market points at me and gossips. They said very harsh things, saying I'm not proper and I'm a clingy person. I can't sleep well. I'm afraid everyone will dig up my dark history of being a mistress for love. I was speechless. Say it. What do you want? We've been living together for so long. But you haven't mentioned getting a marriage license at all. Are you always thinking of leaving whenever you want? Huh? I closed my notebook with a snap. Okay. Let's get the marriage license next Monday. But he was still hesitating. What's wrong now? Isn't this okay? Can we go tomorrow? Please. I really can't wait until next Monday. I gritted my teeth. Okay. Silas smiled brightly. Humming a tune, he happily went to buy groceries with a basket. A few minutes later, I heard him greeting his neighbor. The weather is nice today. Hey, do you know I'm getting a marriage license tomorrow? Before midnight. Everyone in the whole neighborhood knew. Have you heard? That resident is getting a marriage license tomorrow. After getting the marriage license, I only then discovered men's lies really can't be trusted. I chose a villa by the stream as our wedding room. Does Mia like it? Didn't you get kicked out of the Silas family? Become a pauper? Yes. But I didn't say I have no money. Don't worry. There are still some properties abroad. It's purely for me to support my wife personally. Which is enough. The total assets are. My face fell a little. Silas. Even you deceived me. Most of these have been changed in assets and are still in the process. They are all registered under Mia's name as dowry. I touched my nose. Oh. It doesn't matter to deceive once in a while. Later. Silas pressed me on the bed. Over and over again. Mia. Say something. Huh? Do you like me for who I am or for the money? Huh? What a demon. Even the ending sound of ha is so alluring. Only children make choices. I want both money and the person. The end.